Continuing my recent quest to find the best personal knowledge management app, I would like to share my first impression of Heptabase, the 2023 Product Hunt Golden Kitty Award winner. Let's get started. Heptabase is a visual note-taking, so-called personal knowledge management system app. Similar to other personal knowledge management systems, Heptabase aims to be the ultimate knowledge management platform. However, like other such systems, it is still in the early stage of development and cannot yet be considered as a true knowledge OS. Compared to other PKMS, Heptabase stands out for its user-friendly interface and flexibility, which can truly improve the process of learning. Therefore, I would describe its current version, 1.3214, as a learning enhancement tool. One of the Heptabase's co-founders, Alan Chan, states that human knowledge work has a life cycle of exploring, collecting, thinking, creating, and sharing. Productivity expert Tiago Forte, the author of Second Brain, described a four-step note-taking method called capture, organize, distill, and express. Heptabase excels in collecting and thinking, as defined by Alan, or in capturing, organizing, and distilling, as per Tiago Forte's code method. Before delving into my initial impression review, I want to note that Heptabase is a subscription-based system. I understand the hesitation surrounding subscription models, especially for note-taking apps. I'll discuss my perspective on this in detail later. Heptabase development began in May 2021. The original project name was Project Meta in 2021, but due to the overlap with Facebook's name change around that time, the company renamed it to Heptabase. So, what 7 key concept is Heptabase trying to cover? You're here for the disappointment. The name Heptabase was inspired by science fiction stories of your life, which features a species called heptapods that can communicate using a visual language that connects events from the past, present, and the future. There's no specific significance to the number 7. The company was founded in late 2021 and is based in Taiwan. In early 2022, they were able to raise nearly $1.7 million in seed funding. However, they have not spent any investor money to this date, as they are able to fully fund themselves through the revenue. The public beta became available in 2022, and the version 1.0 was released in August 2023. On January 2024, Heptabase was awarded for the Golden Kitty Awards on the Product Hunt under Personal Productivity category. While the credibility and the actual value of this site and award are unclear, other PKMS apps developers have asked for votes for this site, suggesting this recognition holds some significance within the PKMS community. Understanding the basic system design helps inform the developer's philosophy and app's potential. The key consideration is whether the fundamental design can support the app's intended purpose. This means evaluating if the app can function in a consistent, cohesive manner rather than a patchwork of features, as most PKMS aims to become an ultimate platform operating system, not just a note-taking app eventually. The fundamental unit of Heptabase is a card. A card can be a standalone note, media files like images, videos, and audio files. As a note-taking app at its core, we are building note cards with a feature-rich text editor. Knowledge comes from sources, and Heptabase recognizes the importance of easy accessibility to them. Therefore, similar to other PKM systems, Heptabase allows users to store source files like PDFs and media files directly within the app. Where Heptabase shows its potential is the highlight card type. This feature offers an interesting and flexible design that allows us to link reference sources and notes within the application, enabling contextual retention for our notes. Eventually, they aim to enable users to create program cards that allow custom automation and processing of other cards within the Heptabase. This is a fascinating idea, and once they reach that stage, it sounds like a real knowledge operating system or platform. The team also recognized that we don't think or acquire knowledge linearly, and each of us does this differently. Therefore, Heptabase offers its main working space in a form of a whiteboard rather than a single document. We place various cards, link them, and organize them on an infinite canvas in a way that makes sense to us. The overall design feels flexible and has the potential to create a cohesive knowledge platform or operating system that can handle all stages of the knowledge lifecycle. Now, let's examine Heptabase's pros, cons, and neutral points in more detail. Let's start with the pros, and there are a lot to discuss. Heptabase has been an offline-first desktop app since the early stage of its development. I can confirm that Mac app is fully functional without an internet connection. I need the ability to sync my notes across multiple devices, including my home computer, mobile devices, and work computers. Heptabase supports cross-device sync through the cloud. Independent of how great the dedicated apps are, I need a web app for my use case because my work computers do not permit the installation of third-party applications. Fortunately, Heptabase offers a fully functional web app. Heptabase offers a dedicated mobile app. Although it is not a full-fledged desktop equivalent, the recent addition of the ability to edit whiteboard content has significantly improved its utility. Basically, Heptabase provides anytime, anywhere access. In the real world, we recognize the power of whiteboards. They allow us to freely organize our thoughts as we see fit. Whiteboards are the perfect brainstorming tool. The digital whiteboard eliminates physical space constraints, unlocking limitless potential. To truly unleash the power beyond the physical whiteboard, the app needs to support key features, not just infinite canvas space. Otherwise, it may be perceived as a gimmick, potentially creating friction points. This is where Heptabase excels. With its infinite nesting capability and versatile whiteboard organization tools, Whiteboard in Heptabase is an evolved version of a traditional computer folders and physical whiteboards. It offers a flexible and intuitive way to manage information, transcending the limitations of typical folder structures. One of the key advantages of digital whiteboard is its ability to serve as comprehensive project folder. It enables me to consolidate various project-related materials, such as notes and resources, in a single location. I can then easily move, arrange, and group these cards to organize and work in a way that suits my current needs. One feature I appreciate in Heptabase is the ability to create comprehensive notes that are visible only within the whiteboard, avoiding making a clutter in card library. Project-specific notes differ from atomic or permanent notes. The former are one-time, context-dependent, while the latter are modular and reusable for the future. This name may be misleading, as a text entity is more capable than simple text. These text entities are essentially full-fledged note cards, except they currently lack tags and direct links to their content. Within these text notes, you can use headers, toggles, embed images, create tables, and even link to other cards. Whiteboards isn't just a place to drag and drop various cards. Within the whiteboard, we have a tool to draw links between cards, These connections serve as a visual aid and create bidirectional links between the cars. This results in a formation of contextual links that, in addition to typical direct linking of the cars seen in many other personal knowledge management systems. Partly due to my limited experience with personal knowledge management systems, the personal knowledge management systems I've used so far have imposed a specific way of organizing nodes. This reflects the developer's perspective on the best way to manage knowledge, which I've had to learn. In contrast, Heptabase felt much more intuitive from the start, and one of the main reasons is its flexible node organization support. With this flexibility, I can do object-based, network-based, and hierarchical node taking. I can intuitively implement power method and zero-casting system. None of these feel like I'm trying to create their pseudo version. Instead, they all feel natural and full-fledged. The primary strength of digital whiteboard infinite canvas is the ability to consolidate everything in one place, which is a physical whiteboard cannot do. However, without a way to organize tens of hundreds of cards, the whiteboard can quickly become a cluttered mess, potentially decreasing productivity rather than improving it. To organize the cards within the whiteboard, Heptabase offers 3 distinct yet complementary approaches. The first method is to group cards using sections. This approach helps organize cards within whiteboard while keeping the content visible. You can create sections within sections. Each section can have its own background color, and you can move entire cards together. Once a section is created, you can easily move cards in and out by dragging and dropping them. The sections automatically resizes as the card size within them get bigger. Sometimes, we may want to conceal certain content and move it to a dedicated folder. This is where the power of nested whiteboard comes in. By placing other whiteboards within another, true folder type grouping is achieved. Additionally, you can create links to other whiteboards, similar to folder shortcuts, even if they do not reside under the current whiteboard. The third method of grouping card is mind map. A mind map is a visual diagram used to represent words, ideas, tasks, or other items linked to and arranged around the central keyword or idea. It is a graphical representation of information where relationships between concepts are visually displayed using branching lines and nodes. Mind maps are often used for brainstorming, organizing ideas, problem solving, decision making, and summarizing information in a structured and visually engaging format. Although I've never used mind map until now, I can see myself using them to outline when starting new write-ups. Creating a mind map is straightforward. Right-click and select Mind Map to begin. Press Enter to add a node at the same level, and Tab to create a child node. You can also link nodes to existing cards or convert a node into a new card. This allows you to intuitively build your mind map and gradually transform it into actual content. You can also easily add or remove cards from nodes by dragging them. One feature I wish they would implement is the ability to include text entities as part of a mind map nodes. This would better suit my project note-taking, where mind maps tends to be more useful. Nodal content in these cases should not clutter my card library, as they are one-time use within the current whiteboard context. Unlike the traditional hierarchical folder structure, network-based organization lacks a top-down relationship. Instead, each entity is linked based on its relationships with others. This organization offers the immediate benefit of single copy, multiple location storage. As the collection of notes or files grows, the network structure may inspire new research or project ideas, directly lead to publication, or help us understand something more easily and deeply. This type of file organization is traditionally offered through tag functionality. Many personal knowledge management systems also provide backlink support, which automatically creates a link from a note mentioned in another note back to the original note. The long-term benefit of network-based note-taking is offered typically through the graph view. Heptabase supports both tags and bidirectional backlink-capable linking of cars. What's currently lacking is a graph view feature. Graph view is a visual tool used in note-taking and knowledge management applications. It represents notes and pieces of information as nodes, and the connections between them as edges or lines. This feature can help uncover hidden connections as the note library grows larger. It can also identify topics with substantial existing content within your workspace. Additionally, graph view may suggest your next project, such as writing a manuscript or blog post. This feature provides the main long-term benefit of network note-taking. The product backlog currently includes the graph view. While I find it visually appealing, I have not yet experienced its productivity benefits directly. Therefore, I am comfortable with its current backlog status, but others may perceive this as a limitation. Heptabase does not support nested tags. However, each tag can have its own properties, including a fixed set type, which itself can act as a tag of tag. This allows you to achieve at least two-level nested tag equivalent. We are all familiar with hierarchical organization, especially in the digital world. The classic folder structure is a prime example. Hierarchies excels at creating isolated spaces or groups of files to work on. As the productivity expert Tiago Forte notes, they are effective in large-scale, relatively predictable environments. Hierarchies have limitations, but when a system prevents user from creating a hierarchical organization, it can hinder productivity. Users may try to mimic the folder structure in an awkward way, which can negatively impact their workflow. Heptabase offers a true hierarchical structure with its whiteboard/folder 2.0 design. You can intuitively use the whiteboard as a pure folder with no additional functionality, and create an unlimited number of nested levels. This includes simple drag and drop functionality to move content, including the whiteboard itself, to another location, just like moving folders. Object-based note-taking is a method of organizing notes by grouping them into objects. An object can represent a person, a book, or any other item. The key distinction is that each object has a set of common properties or information. Some personal knowledge management systems prioritize this as their primary node organization approach. Heptabase supports object note-taking through its tag system. While there is no dedicated property field section in the cards, properties are associated with tags rather than cards. When implementing an object note-taking type, consider the tag name as object type itself. Heptabase supports various types of properties to build real objects from there. For example, I have created a book tag to represent a book object type. The book object has the four main properties of author, publication date, media format, and status. The author is a person, which is a distinct object type. Therefore, I have chosen the relation property type to ensure that the value in this field can only be items tagged as person. The media format should have fixed options, so multiple select type is appropriate. The options include paperback, audiobook, and Kindle. The status should be single select list, indicating whether the book is still being read or has been finished. To create the actual book object, simply tag the note with the book label. Once you add this tag, the corresponding property fields will immediately appear on the note. To quickly access object, I create shortcut or tab folder called Objects to contain all object type tags. Clicking the object type tag displays all items under that category. The options are table format or Kanban view. The Kanban view is helpful for monitoring the stage or group of items. For instance, status is a useful example. Heptabase offers comprehensive object note-taking support. The Para method is an organizational system focused on productivity, developed by Tiago Forte. It uses a simple 4-category classification based on actionable priority to reduce the friction of where to file items and quickly determine their priority. Para stands for projects, areas, resources, and archives. The concept was designed as platform-agnostic organizational method. However, I encountered some friction with other personal knowledge management systems due to the lack of true folder system replication. The system was originally designed to create 4 distinct, isolated folders at the top level to organize them. Under each folder, we would then have subfolders or groups of items, enabling hierarchical organization. With Heptabase's full functional folder hierarchy, I simply create parafolders. The Zettelkasten method offers a robust framework for knowledge management. By breaking information into bite-sized pieces, users can quickly retrieve and assemble them into new forms. This approach is particularly useful for researchers, writers, and anyone seeking to manage complex information systematically. With Heptabase being developed as a learning tool at its core, the system supports the Zettelkasten note-taking method exceptionally well and helps automate the extra steps found in other personal knowledge management systems I've used in the past. The atomic note concept of Zettelkasten aligns seamlessly with Heptabase's fundamental unit, the card. This one-to-one relationship between a permanent note in Zettelkasten and a note card in Heptabase is a straightforward and elegant design. Linking between nodes is a crucial component of Zettelkasten method. Network note-taking components serve this purpose. Where Heptabase stands out is its workflow for capturing steps into permanent note creation, as illustrated by how it processes PDF files. PDF files can be easily imported into Heptabase using a simple drag and drop feature. Within the app, you can not only view these PDF files but also annotate them directly. To understand the complex topics presented in the PDF articles, I typically highlight key points and occasionally take brief notes as I read. In other personal knowledge management systems I've tried, I had to use external PDF organization libraries, as most of them did not support PDF annotation within the app, despite allowing the import of PDF files. In Heptabase, I upload PDF directly into Heptabase, highlight the desired sections within the Heptabase, drag and drop highlighted section, which creates a highlighted card, which is reference note by itself. This card allows me to quick and navigate back to the original PDF and the specific highlighted section. Next, edit the highlight card or create the new literature card to summarize the highlighted content in my own word. With all the literature cards and adding other cards on the whiteboard, I can visually start creating permanent cards. The benefit here is that every step I take is relevant to my learning. There is no need to waste time uploading to 2 different unlinked platforms and manually creating the linking between the 2. Furthermore, this workflow allows me to decode complex PDFs in multiple sittings with ease. I can read one section, take literature notes, and then later return to the same whiteboard to immediately see where I left off. One reason this approach works well is that cards in the Heptabase go to the card library rather than being bounded to a specific whiteboard. Once I have finished reading the entire article, I can simply delete the whiteboard. In other words, I have treated reading a PDF as a one-time project. My highlighted cards and permanent notes all remain intact. As someone who uses PDF as a main reference source, this is one of the key areas that instantly captivated me about Heptabase. After creating knowledge database, the next stage for many of us is to use that data to create a product, such as presentation material, a script for a YouTube video, a published paper, or a book. At this stage, the ability to access multiple contents within the personal knowledge management system becomes an important part of efficiency. In general, I see 3 basic multitasking features many users ask for. Tabs. Similar to web browsers, tabs allow us to quickly switch between different content. The items that can be added to tabs include not just whiteboards, but also individual cards and tags. We can then add these to favorites by pinning them. Tabs also offer single-level folder grouping of favorite tabs for quick, organized access. Using this functionality, I have set up an intuitive workspace separation, an object type list, Zettelkasten and notes grouping access, and parafolder access, all within a couple of clicks. Split view. With the whiteboard at the center of the design, it inherently supports multiple cards side by side if they are within the whiteboard. However, you may want to access cards outside the current whiteboard, such as checking potential cards to add onto the current whiteboard. The split view mode allows you to view more than one content simultaneously, even if they are not within the current whiteboard. The right split pane enables you to search the entire workspace and view the contents. You can open multiple cards on the right pane, collapse or expand each card, and drag and drop to reorder. You can also open cards already on the current whiteboard, so you don't need to move the card next to another to view them side by side within the whiteboard. One missing split view feature is the ability to view 2 separate whiteboards side by side. However, a recent official community poll suggests this may be an upcoming feature that developer is working on. Split window. If you want 2 separate whiteboards or perhaps use 2 separate monitors running Heptabase, running 2 separate instances or windows of Heptabase can be helpful. Since Heptabase offers a browser version and allows us to open multiple copies simultaneously, we can achieve the desired setup with either 2 web apps or 1 web app and 1 desktop application. Rich features may appear impressive on paper, but they don't always translate into a seamless real-world experience. Despite supporting various functionalities, if using them doesn't feel natural, they can become a source of friction within the system. If there are numerous friction points, the overall user experience may not feel quite right and could even decrease actual productivity. This is another area where Heptabase feels good in actual use. The features they have rolled out seem to be crafted with care and attention to detail. It's evident that the developers use the app themselves and strive to make the system as seamless as possible. Some of the features that exemplify this include keyboard shortcuts. Heptabase offers numerous keyboard shortcuts. For those who use Heptabase regularly for note-taking, knowing these shortcuts can enhance productivity. The official website provides a comprehensive page detailing these shortcuts. Additionally, Heptabase displays the relevant shortcuts for each action, allowing users to learn as they use the application. The Tidy Up feature enables users to select multiple cards and automatically rearrange them. We can change the background color of each card and apply the same tags to multiple cards simultaneously by selecting the target cards directly from the whiteboard. If you have collections of notes in other platforms and want to switch to Heptabase, or at least experience how they work within the Heptabase before committing, Heptabase supports batch import. In my brief test, I successfully batch imported Obsidian contents, including tags. I believe we can easily try Heptabase and assess its functionality with real-world caseload. Speaking of import, not all personal knowledge management systems support copy and paste to and from its as expected. For example, pasting table from Apple numbers didn't get any formatting in some app, and others converted to non-editable images. When pasting personal knowledge management system data into plain text, only text boxes like Discord, some had lost format completely. Heptabase is one of a few on my test that actually copied table as editable table form from Apple numbers. It also allowed copy from it as Markdown. Whenever I evaluate new personal knowledge management systems, I want to ensure I can easily export my notes to another platform. I cannot risk vendor lock-in for the app I plan to use for my personal knowledge management. The ability to batch export data in a non-proprietary format is one of the best solutions for this. Heptabase offers a convenient batch export feature with a single button click. The exported files include the cards I've created, even the highlighted cards imported from Readwise. What's truly impressive is that when I open these notes in Obsidian, a free app, the notes retained nearly all their formatting, including links between notes, embedded images, and even tags and properties. I haven't conducted a thorough comparison, but the data appears to be fully usable at a glance. One catch here is that while we retain highlight notes from PDFs, the original PDFs do not retain the highlights. However, this could be a potential future feature addition. As an additional safeguard to reduce vendor lock-in experiences, Heptabase will allow users to continue accessing their notes in view-only mode if the user decides to unsubscribe. They also have promised on their official site that if they ever go out of business, they will make the software open source at that point. At this point, I am comfortable acknowledging that Heptabase is not vendor lock-in platform. Based on my brief experience, Heptabase's communication appears excellent. The team has a clear roadmap outlining their current work, upcoming priorities, and backlog, and a record of achievements. Their priorities appear to be driven by community demand, and they gather user insights through polls. What I particularly liked is the co-founder's long-term roadmap plan. The roadmap outlines progressive stages of development based on phases of knowledge management workflow. They are currently focusing on steps involving learning new materials and creating a personal knowledge database. In the final stage, they aim to enable the customization, including integration of external software and platforms within Heptabase. If I interpret this correctly, it sounds like they are trying to create a programmable card to create custom workflow by users using Heptabase content as well as external apps. This may be an evolution of typical open API or plugin. As a subscription user, having a clear, phased long-term roadmap in addition to a short-term plan is exciting. The Heptabase official support system is excellent, significantly outperforming many other IT support services based on my limited interactions. They have an active Discord community where I can quickly receive help from either community members or Heptabase team members. The official support system workflow is impressive. During my first week of using the subscription, I've submitted nearly a dozen feature requests and suggestions within the Heptabase app as chat messages. I've received responses to all of them in less than a day, and most are within a few hours. The team has suggested a workaround, but they are still considering adding the feature request to backlog. While I'm uncertain whether they'll implement any of my feature requests, I felt they genuinely cared about my input, rather than denying all possibilities or using templated responses to claim they have customer service. In some cases, they've suggested a temporary workaround, including pointing me to the third-party app, while promising they're still adding the feature request to the backlog. Some they have requested more details to better understand the use case for the feature. If you've followed me so far, I hope you've sensed my excitement about this app. The only potential downside I can see is their subscription-only business model. Let's examine this more closely. Unlike many other personal knowledge management systems, Heptabase does not offer a free tier, except for 7-day trial period. Their business model is straightforward. They have a single subscription plan priced at $12 per month, with a potential 25% discount if you subscribe for 1 year. This may be a deal breaker for some. Others may feel hesitant or wonder why they should subscribe or what they are subscribing to. So what am I paying for? To understand this, I like to use another app, the popular local first personal knowledge management system, Obsidian, as a reference standard. This is not a full feature comparison between the two apps, but it helps me understand where my $9 or $12 per month is going. If you are watching this video, you are likely familiar with Obsidian or have at least heard of it. Obsidian is a popular open source, fully offline functional and free to use personal knowledge management system. While I have only briefly used it myself, those familiar with the app can customize Obsidian by installing various community-built plugins to suit their needs. Since this app is free and popular, any features Obsidian offers, especially without plugins, should be subtracted from Heptabase's subscription cost evaluation. In other words, if those are the only features I need, I'd be better off using Obsidian. It's important to note that this section is not intended for direct comparison between Heptabase and Obsidian, as there are many features that Obsidian offers that Heptabase does not, and vice versa. This is simply a reference to considering potential reasons for subscription cost of Heptabase. The main features I found as potential reasons to pay for Heptabase subscription over free Obsidian are as follows: web app, time saving, unlimited cloud storage, and cloud sync server. The web app is a crucial component of my workflow since my work computers prohibit installing third-party applications. I rely on the web app for knowledge-building tasks such as note-taking and referencing those notes. I would be willing to pay for this service as my notes are essentially hosted on the external server, in this case, Amazon Web Services. This feature is a must-have for me, and one of the reasons I couldn't use personal knowledge management systems like any type of Obsidian as my primary system. The next valuable component of subscription is our time. Time is a precious resource, and how we use it can vary greatly. Personal knowledge management system should be as frictionless as possible, allowing users to focus on the purpose of knowledge management itself. It would be paradoxical if using a personal knowledge management system required extra time, as that time could have been better spent on actually improving one's knowledge. When considering the time spent on knowledge management tasks, I find myself more efficient using Heptabase compared to Obsidian. It feels intuitive and is ready to use after following the official tutorial. As mentioned earlier, the organizational flexibility also seems intuitive, allowing me to easily structure my files as desired. In contrast, Obsidian has a rich library of plugins that can adapt to almost any requirement. However, finding the right plugin for a specific task can be time-consuming. For instance, when I started using Obsidian, I wanted to simply reorder my notes on the main navigation to emulate long-form writing similar to Scrivener. Unfortunately, the default Obsidian setup did not support this feature, making it more challenging to create long-form content from individual notes. I had to spend time searching for and installing a specific plugin to achieve this goal. While I can set up Obsidian to sync using iCloud for free, I encountered difficulties setting this up on my work-supplied laptop, where they disabled iCloud. If I tried using Google Drive, I would lose automatic sync on my iPhone and iPad. This limitation may be highly situational and may not apply to many users. In my case, if I need syncing across all devices, I require an Obsidian subscription. Obsidian offers 1 GB of cloud storage for $5 per month or 10 GB for $10 per month. The 1 GB plan is insufficient for my needs, particularly with the 5 MB file size limit. Therefore, I need the $10 per month plan. At this point, the monthly price difference between Obsidian and Heptabase is only $2. For $2 per month, Heptabase provides unlimited storage with a 2 GB per file maximum. Given the amount of image data I tend to include in my personal knowledge management system, I appreciate the ability to not worry about the cloud storage limitations. These are a list of things that fit my personal use case where I can see where I would be paying a subscription for Heptabase. Is the above list worth $12 per month? For me, yes, as of today. If Obsidian and other personal knowledge management systems continue to add more features and improve workflows, I would need more justification for the $12 per month to stay on Heptabase. Before moving on to the next section, let's examine the subscription benefit for consumers, a contentious topic. Subscription plans can indeed offer benefits to consumers. While one-time purchase may feel preferable, consumers may find themselves upgrading or switching products before recouping the cost. Subscription plans provide the freedom to seek alternatives. For instance, if a company offered a 5-year subscription equivalent as a one-time $500 lifetime plan, but the consumer found a better personal knowledge management system 1 year later, they could have saved almost $400. If the personal knowledge management system is not used for nearly 5 years at that price, the consumer is actually losing money. With many potentially promising and highly capable personal knowledge management systems available or coming to the market, it might be advantageous for users to lease the system in this category at this point. This allows users to easily try a potentially better option if one becomes available. I pay monthly instead of annually because the additional $3 per month allows me to maintain flexibility. As a final section of first impressions, I will share what I categorize as neutral points. While I hope these features are available, their absence does not prevent me from using Heptabase. In fact, most of these points, if implemented, would immediately become pros of the system, and I expect many of them to be implemented at some point. So these are like my wish list. In note-taking apps, many of us have a higher threshold for privacy and security compared to other apps. This is because we often enter personal data, some of which may be private. According to the official wiki, when using local-only mode, all Heptabase data is stored locally. When cloud sync for multiple device syncing is enabled, Heptabase will use Amazon Web Service located in North America. End-to-end encryption is a secure communication method that ensures the data is encrypted on the sender's device and only decrypted on the recipient device. This process means that no third party, including service providers or hackers, can access the data in transit. And therefore, this technology can protect the sensitive information from unauthorized access throughout its entire journey over potentially insecure networks. According to ChatGPT, Amazon Web Service does not provide end-to-end encryption by default. Developers must implement specific configurations to enable this feature. This is consistent with the backlog, which include an item for end-to-end encryption for selected cards, indicating that end-to-end encryption is not currently supported by Heptabase. If end-to-end encryption is an absolute must-have feature for you, you may need to wait until its release. Transclusion is a concept where portions of a document or content are dynamically included within another document by reference, rather than by copying. This allows content to be reused and updated from a single source, ensuring consistency and reducing redundancy. This is particularly useful when creating a long-form document from smaller pieces, known as bottom-up writing. Currently, Heptabase supports content embedding, but it is limited to a card and not applied to text. My typical workflow involves one-time projects for long-form writing or assembled documents. In many cases, I do not need these to be a card library, but rather to remain within the whiteboard, as this is often the final product of a given whiteboard project. Another issue I have not found a workaround for this is inability to export the actual long-form content. Even if I select and copy all, pasting this outside of Heptabase will ignore the embedded content. As a result, I cannot readily paste these into a Word document, WordPress, or similar platforms. This is an important sharing step in the knowledge lifecycle, and I hope the Heptabase team will implement these missing features soon. While I remain skeptical about AI-generated content, as much of the output I have encountered so far seems to contain inaccurate information, its grammar correction capability has been an immediate benefit for me as a non-native English speaker. Sadly, Heptabase does not currently have any AI functionality. They have listed Media Card, AI transcription, and highlight as next up priority 3. So some form of AI integration is certainly planned for Heptabase. I hope they would consider implementing grammar correction soon. Assuming they keep the Heptabase subscription price the same, AI support would increase the overall value of the subscription. For the workaround, I use Raycast, which requires a separate subscription for its AI functionality. While the PDF workflow in Heptabase is impressive, the same cannot be said for its handling of web page content. The recent addition of Web Clipper creates a simple card with a copy of web page content, but it lacks a reference link. Many sites I use appear to be incorrectly parsed, so sadly, it's not much of use for me at the moment. For the workaround, I use the Readwise integration, which costs $10 per month without educational discount, or $5 with discount. With Readwise, I can highlight web pages and it will automatically create highlight cards in the Heptabase. These cards include a backlink to the Readwise leader page. While Heptabase calls them a whiteboard, one could argue that it is not a true whiteboard because it lacks a freehand drawing capability. Although I personally don't mind this limitation as I haven't used handwriting for a while, I understand that as a student long ago, I often suit digital note-taking apps that could accommodate freehand writing. The drawing feature is currently on the backlog item in the roadmap. If this functionality is important for you, Heptabase may not be the best choice at the moment. Heptabase currently has only a single workspace for all purposes, so we can't create multiple completely isolated workspaces. The good news is that this feature is a priority 1 item on the roadmap. One handy in-node organization feature is the split column, which is particularly useful for comparing and contrasting information within the node. In other apps, this can often be done by simple drag and drop. Fortunately, Heptabase offers a workaround. We can create a regular table and utilize its columns. This approach works well as it allows us to apply various node decorations within the columns, including headers, bullets, images, and even nested tables. While it requires a couple of extra steps to create the table and delete extra cells, many may not see this as a significant issue, as we can achieve the essential end result of the split column right now. In conclusion, Heptabase offers one of the most intuitive and seamless personal knowledge management experience as a learning tool. The team's meticulous attention to usability allows the system's flexibility to adapt to a user's workflow, rather than requiring the users to adapt to a predetermined approach. While a subscription-only service could be seen as a drawback, Heptabase has set a high standard for subscription-based personal knowledge management system. I have not yet seen a free service that matches the quality and productivity enhancement offered by Heptabase, particularly in learning from PDF material. From this point on, any personal knowledge management system I consider with a subscription model will be compared to Heptabase in terms of price, features, and functionality. It's a challenging benchmark to surpass. The future potential of Heptabase is also intriguing to observe. They have already demonstrated their ability to create enhanced knowledge databases from PDF sources. I eagerly anticipate their expansion into other input sources, such as a web page and media files. To fully realize the knowledge lifecycle they have defined, I also look forward to their development of creation and expression workflows, including support for long-form writing. If anyone wants to improve their learning efficiency and quality, especially by relying on PDFs as a primary source, Heptabase is an absolute must-try app. Thanks for watching.